Miss Liz, tea time, yeah, making a difference, one cup at a time, tea time, yeah, Miss Liz, tea time, yeah, making a difference, one cup at a time, tea time, yeah. So be sure to grab your tea, grab a seat, and tune in to Miss Liz, tea time. Making a difference, one cup at a time. Tea time, yeah. Tea time, time.
Well, welcome back, guys. You know what time it is. It's tea time with Miss Liz. And in this house, we don't serve a beverage, we serve storytelling and words. And I have the incredible Chindia Ilonka. I think I'm saying it right. If not, I'm gonna go with Ilonka for tonight, and we're gonna have some fun. But we're gonna be sharing a different type of tea. And I really love when my guests get deep in their tea. So tonight's tea is Transcend Limitations. Uh, Elevate with purpose and aspire towards greatness. That is the tea that we're going to be serving, plus a lot of good stuff, her books. And we're going to get you guys to get a pen and a notebook if you're listening in and you have one nearby, because I want you to take some notes tonight. We're going to do the visionary blueprint, and I want you to start creating your blueprint for 2025. That's right. Miss Liz is going to get you to do some homework, because that's just the way I work here. So before we get started, we're going to get you over to Miss Liz's YouTube channel, and we're going to get you to ring that little doorbell, and then you'll be able to join us for this live stream. If you're joining us right now, you can join us and leave your comments, support, and questions and all that stuff as well. If you'd like to stay anonymous, you can send Miss Liz direct messages on my Facebook page, and I will get those out during our conversation. Now, everyone knows Miss Liz is closing up shop, so this is number 4. We got 4 left, guys, and then after that, reunion time. So December 19th, 7 p.m. Check out Miss Liz's YouTube channel for that reunion show. There's over 50 guests that are coming from all 5 seasons, and we have some surprises and all that good stuff. So tonight we have incredible conversations going on. So let's get the disclaimer going, and let's get the bio, and then let's get Chichia in here, and we're gonna share our tea together and really open up some doors and avenues and get that vision open tonight. Disclaimer for Miss Liz's Tea Time Live show. Miss Liz myself is going live using StreamYard. Before leaving a comment, please grant StreamYard permission to see your name at StreamYard.com. Please be advised that the content brought forward for any Tea Time show hosted by myself, Miss Liz, is always brought forward in good faith. However, may bring forth dialogues and opinions that are not representative of my platform. The facts and information are perceived to be accurate at the given time of airing. All Tea Time guests and audience participants are responsible for using their good judgment and taking any action that may relate to the discussion. The content brought forward may include discussions for some where they may be emotionally at risk. It's significant to know that the show is engaging in discussion forums only to offer and inspire awareness and connection, and is not providing therapeutical advice. If you have any questions about the disclaimer or the panelist discussion, you may freely contact me, Miss Liz, through my email at bookingmissliz@gmail.com. Moving forward, should you choose to voluntarily participate in tonight's show in any aspect, I myself, Miss Liz, welcomes you. And should you decide that the show is not made for you at this time, I respect those wishes, and will see you at a later show at a later date and time. And again, all Tea Time shows are originally done on Thursdays, 3 p.m. and 7 p.m. Standard Time. If you see a Tea Time Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and even a Friday, it is a surprise tea time, rescheduled tea time, or a special tea time. So tonight we have a special tea time in the house. So we have Chindia Ilonka in the house, and she's a visionary leadership with soul-inspired impact. Chindia Ilonka is a trailblazer in transformational leadership, empowering visionary leaders, entrepreneurs, and change makers to step into their next level of greatness. With over 20 years of international experience in human transformation and organizational effectiveness, she masterfully combines strategic insight with soul-aligned wisdom to help leaders transcend traditional success models and creates lasting purpose-driven results and impact. Driven by a vision for something greater, Chichinia journey has been far from controversial, yearning for a deeper, more authentic way of living and leading. She developed her own source inspired methodorpheus uh methodologies. I gotta get her to say that word. That blend strategies strat, strategics with source to foster innovation, resilience, and purpose driven outcomes. Today, Chindia Ilonka is inspiring visionary leaders globally to blend success with meaningful purpose, thrive through balance, and lead with inspiration to drive extraordinary results in life, leaderships, and businesses that truly matter. Her mission is to guide leaders in building legacies that not only elevate their own success, but also contribute to a more compassionate, abundance world. And my tongue twister, I need some tea and let me get her in here so we can spill it together.
We're gonna do it, Miss Liz. And please don't worry about the name. You are not the first.
Why can't I hear you?
I've had so many different versions of my name. So I love it.
Right? It's like a tongue twister. You know what? It's to bring in the humor and that. So, uh, Ilonka, I'm going to stick with Ilonka.
I love it.
Ugh.
That's good.
So let me get you to go way back before we get into the visionary and blueprints and the rebels and all of that good stuff. Who were you as a little girl and who are you now?
You know, I was always very connected. Actually, if you take me way back, I have to bring you to the guava tree. It was the guava tree in the middle of our yard, and that was my kind of my safe haven. That's my parents had bought me a desk for me to do all my homework, and I never used it. I had built my own plateau in the guava tree, and that's where I would play my guitar, do my homework, and that's where I felt connected with all of life. I always I spoke to my plants, I spoke to my pets and animals, and I thought it was all very normal. You know, I thought that everybody did that until I went to school, and I realized like, I you know it nobody does this. So then I started to feel that this is weird, and I actually decided, nobody told me, but I set out on a mission to just fit in and try and be like everybody else. And that has been, for a long part in my life, had been my go-to, try and fit in, trying, to do what I thought was, the correct way of living, leading, being successful, until I realized that it didn't work for me because I was losing myself. I remember I could see myself out there, and to others, they thought, that I was successful, and they would call me Ilonka, but I was like, I don't know her. I don't know who she is anymore. And that set me out on a journey, um, yeah, really back to myself. And there have been many milestones along the way. And a lot of seeming coincidences. And one of the big ones was when I felt this inner call to go back to the island of my mom, where she was born, Aruba, after 20 years living in the US. And everybody declared me absolutely crazy. They said, everybody's trying to come to the US and you're going back. So, and I was like, I can't really explain it, but that's what my heart was telling me. And it was the best thing I ever did, because it brought me back. I walking on the beaches here in barefoot on the really quiet beaches was like I could start feeling the weight of all the layers of inauthenticity that I had put on, these coats that weren't mine. And that
Oh,
set the start of really becoming who I truly am, and learning to find my voice. And that also took a journey, but I'm sure we can drill deeper into that as we go and continue our tea.
well, I like that you said that coats that are not mine, right? Because we put so many coats on and take all these titles on and all of this heavy weight on. And sometimes we just got to take all those coats off.
Exactly. Exactly. And it's actually a very scary practice, because one, it's not done. most of the time. We most of us are, we're set on the codes, and we just keep renewing them or making them better, but never really pausing long enough to say, does this is this code really me?
Yeah.
Does it is this who I am? And that's what I write in the book too, that is actually the most important question. Who am I? And in Quantum Rebel, I write about that. It actually shifted for me. First, it was like, who am I? It's like, who am I to think that I could do, and I could be? And with time and shedding the layers, it became, who am I? What is
Yeah.
that soul that I am? And what did I come to do? Not from a place of arrogance, but just really from a place of deep humility and honoring that beauty that each one of us is on the inside, and learning to authentically bring that out into who we are, what we do, and the life we lead and live.
Well, Ilonka, you said something when I asked you who you were as a little girl, and then people were saying, "Oh, I don't even know who she is." You know what? I love when people say that to me. I don't even know who Miss Liz is, because it's not meant for you to know who Miss Liz is. It's meant for Miss Liz to know who Miss Liz is, right? And it goes right back to, who am I? We want these titles, and we want these in hats and things that we wear on our heads, and we lose ourselves.
Yeah, yeah,
And then we have to take that time to reflect on ourselves and really look within and say, you know what? That's not my journey.
yeah,
That's the journey of others, not the journey of who I am. And I
yeah,
love that you say that, who I am, because we don't ask ourselves that enough, right?
yeah. That's
We
right.
oh we ask the outside world, who am I?
Yeah.
And then they tell us, oh well, you're this, you're this, you're this. And, but do they actually know who we are?
And it's not in a it's just the way it's always been,
Yeah.
and if you really, and that's why I do love how the science is helping us to understand better that, when we're children, our brain learns by absorbing. So, nobody has to tell us anything. We just look at our outside world and just take on everything we see. Now, when we become more conscious, now we know as parents that it's what our children see us do that has much more impact than what we say. And especially in those first formative years, they're just filling up their brains. And so, before we didn't know any different, but now more and more I find that people are being more conscious and really um, um, honoring more of who they are.
Yeah.
And it's still not easy, it's still not mainstream, but I do feel, and that's why I love, and I really want to thank you for inviting me and for the work, and that I wouldn't call it work, the beauty that you bring into the world. 5 years of and even more of all these inspiring conversations, tea, you know having tea and real tea, of who we truly are,
Yeah.
and helping to transform others,
Well,
so that
and there's
they
nothing wrong with tea, the beverage. For all
oh
my
no,
listeners out there, if you're
I
thinking
usually
Miss Liz is drinking a tea right now, I'm actually drinking a nice hibiscus tea, because my guest this afternoon was drinking a hibiscus tea. So I went looking for mine, and now I'm drinking mine. Uh,
yep,
but there's so much more to life than the
yes,
beverage. The flow, the flavors and topics that we put into ourselves, what we learn, who we become. And the reason that I wanted all of my listeners tonight to grab a pen and paper is because I want you to write, who am I? And I want you to really look within yourself, and I want you to listen to the conversation tonight that we're going to have, because we're going to get deep, and we're really going
okay,
to get spilling some tea, and we're going to get some tools, and we're going to build a blueprint for 2025, because you know what? We're just around the corner from 2025.
I
And in
know.
Lanka, what I really loved about the cover of your book was the color, first of
Okay,
one, and then the openness that I got from you, the image of you, and then the word rebel. And if anybody knows Miss Liz likes the rebels. So I was just like, I need this book. I need to talk to her, because we look at rebel as a bad thing, but it's
yep,
not. It's
No.
standing up for yourself. It's
Yeah.
who am I? So we're going to keep going back to that. Who am I? And I want you guys to answer it. And if you want to share with Miss Liz later on or Ilonka, share who you are. And then it gives us a chance to get to know you as well, because we want to know the listeners as well. But Ilonka, I want to talk to you about the book,
Yeah.
The Quantum Rebel. How did it come about? How long did it take? How did you get the name? All of that good stuff, the colors, all of that.
So I would say the book was writing itself before I knew that I was actually consciously writing it. So it really started what I said with the awakening in Aruba, and at that, you know, at some point I just started hearing words in my mind's eye, and I had this incredible, desire to want to paint. And but then, the logical mind was like, well, you can't paint, you've never taken a class or anything like that. And I remember so well, I went into the bookstore, and I actually had surpassed my book budget because I was buying too many books, so I put myself on a budget. And there was this book, the last version, that said drawing from within. And I remember, I still remember till today. I just read the introduction. It was from a father daughter, and they said, art is not about the end product. It's about the journey you take and the expression, how you feel, and going through the process of expressing whatever is inside of you and making something out of it. Some of it you will find beautiful, others will not like it. That doesn't matter. And that set me free. I started to first paint, and then I would hear words, and later on it would shift. And eventually that became the first poem bundle, which was Whisperings of the Wind, Heart to Heart, Soul to Soul, in unison with all. And it was at that time that I was like, okay, yes, now it's time. Now Ilonka knows who she is. And I knew I needed to share, this wisdom been passed on to me. And so it's like, this is how you're going to step into the world. And actually it frightened me. I didn't know it was so heavy and so beautiful, and so it's like at a deep level I knew that I wasn't the person yet who could be the carrier or the conduit that would share this. And so it took me actually 13 years of more unpacking, and what I now have written in the book, that beyond personal development, where we really learn, that we're not victims, and we learn that, we don't, it's not about what the world is doing to us. It's really, it's about the person in the mirror, and so on. That beyond that, there's actually what I call in Quantum Rebel, quantum expansion and soul mastery, where we really learn to we set our soul free in a very non-dogmatic way. Every religion can, it doesn't mean it has to be this way, you have to do it this way. With no, it's non-dogmatic. It all comes in however it is being expressed in you, but it's connecting with a deeper sense of who you are, um, and learning to master that level of being in this very unjust and crazy world still, you know. And so it took me 13 years, I would say, that really coming to that place where it didn't matter what people said or of me, and I mean, if they thought I was crazy. And because here's the thing, the personal side actually came easy. I could share my poems, I could share these thoughts in personal settings. But somehow this for me was meant to go into the leading part, into the leadership part, and that was more difficult. And so that I needed to grow into, and to find, and that's how it eventually, at one point I was like, no, I need to write this, because I remember, the once the 90-minute how do you say that they ask you in 90 seconds or seconds, who are you,
Oh
the
yeah, the
elevator pitch.
elevator pitch.
Oh, I mean, it would scare the living daylights out of me because
Don't
of
ask me my
how
elevator pitch because I'm
they
terrified.
me too. So, and that's when I was like, you know what? I need to write this so that people can read it and then they'll have a conversation with me. And then I can say, who I am and stuff. But then I'm talking to the people that resonate with this. So, and then to be very practical, from the time I decided, yes, it is time to put this into writing, I did it with Kapusha Publishing. Christine Closure was amazing. We had a group of authors that we had a year set out for this, writing the manuscript, and then 6 months for actually publishing. And in mine, it took 3 years. And at some point, I let go of the expectations I had set for myself. As I said, it was supposed to be 1 year, blah, blah, blah. But in letting go of those, expectations, it allowed itself to really become what it needed to become.
Yeah.
And I'm very grateful to the editor. He said to me one time, Ilonka, I've read a lot of these types of books, but you bring something that I've never seen before. And those are actually the frameworks that came through. That's why I call them source inspired, where it's not about the exact steps, because no, I cannot tell you exactly do this and this and then everything will be perfect, because we're all unique. We come from different backgrounds. We step into our own awakening or transformation at in very unique ways. But there is a guideline, there is a blueprint, where that we can follow, that helps us to unpack those codes that we have put in.
Well,
So
and that's the thing, Ilonka, right? Is we can write the books, we can give the
yeah,
tools, but it's a different journey for every single person. So maybe
that's right.
one person might learn on page one, the next one might learn on page seven, and then
Exactly,
go back to page one. And
exactly.
and what I really liked is that the books are unique and different, and that's what we need is different. We need to stop by. Yes, there's guidelines and so many words and so many layouts and stuff like that. Yes, we have to follow those rules. There are rules in life, guys, but it's like tea, right? I can't tell you, Ilonka, what your tea is.
Yeah,
And that's why I asked, what is your tea? I'm not saying this is your tea. Just
yeah,
like you're doing with your work and your book is
exactly.
this is not your rebel journey. This is
No.
my rebel journey. You know what I mean?
Exactly. But we share, the beauty is that when we share our journey, in the most authentic way that we can possibly can, then we give actually permission to others
Yeah.
to do the same in their own unique ways,
Yeah.
and I think we need more of that, because um the conditioning that has been, and I understand that in order to have a whole world and societies live, you have to have certain sets of rules. But what we've forgotten is that those systems and structures are also need to shift as
Yeah.
we are elevating and growing. And the what we're seeing in the world today, I believe, is that we're actually outgrowing the systems and structures. They're from the industrial age,
Yeah.
and we are way beyond that. If you look at our schooling system, it's not honoring who the kids are today.
Yeah.
And so and that's what we're seeing, that there's this immense pull between s- keeping things the way they are and actually shifting.
Yeah.
And that's why I actually, the original title was Quantum Rebel Revolution. And then
Oh, I like the rebel better.
and they said to
That's
me,
my
Ilonka,
opinion.
let's go for Quantum Rebel, because and then you can talk inside the book about the rebel. You say, okay.
But
So
being a rebel is actually pushing the limits.
It is. It
You
is.
know,
It's like
it's
I feel it's
pinching
like the
yourself.
salmon that are, shift that's swimming upward. And it's, uh, I see it as a very positive way. And the whole idea with Quantum Rebel is to inspire others to really awaken that visionary voice inside of them
Yep.
and to amplify that into the world. Because then collectively, the world is already, it's the new world that is based in basically love, for one another and compassion. And I see a world that I know others see it as well. That one day there will be a world where we can thrive, all of us, where we honor, who we are, no matter what. And it is there, but it takes time. And that's why I also say that's why it's important to understand the quantum part, that we are part biology, but we are also part energy. We have a quantum nature. And so, we this is the wisdom, I'll this is, I talk about it in the book, is the from my grandfather. I never met him, but he taught this to my father, is that we need to learn to look at success down the generations, you know not just our lifetimes, but to realize that I may not see the depth and the breadth of the fruits that I think that what is considered success. But if I were able to look down the generations, I mean, I would be dancing, because that generation can now, because of what I did, can now express themselves in the way that they are now. So that really shifted and had such an impact on me, that we need to, I see it more as like the harmonica, the music
Oh,
instrument,
okay. Yeah.
stretching that time and helping us to look, in a more expansive way at life.
Well, it's bringing the harmony of life back, right?
Exactly.
and we
Exactly.
and
Beautifully
we
said,
need the
Liz.
generations, and we need the ancestors in order,
Yes.
it's the storytelling of, okay, well, this is what we went through. Okay, well, the next generation, well, we can learn from this one. But we're getting into a pattern where we're getting stuck,
Yeah.
and we need to get unstuck, and we need to have those rebels. And I think being a rebel in leadership is deeply important,
Yeah.
because the rebel is actually bringing something to the table that the group is saying, oh, well, the leader can do that. The leader can go sit in the back of the room. The leader can step out and let you take charge. Well, that's what a real leader is. It's encouraging other people to grow, right? Other people
Yeah.
to push. And
Yeah.
that's what I got from your book, and from what your tea and that. And I really love your tea. I want to get into the tea, Ilonka, because your tea is really a strong tea, and it actually shows the past, the present, and the future as your because you're starting off with your T as transcend limitations. So that's the
Meditation. Yeah.
past, right? The limitations of the past. But we had to transcend through those limitations, right? And then your E you gave me was elevate with purpose. That's the moment. You're in the
Yeah.
moment of finding the purpose in life. And in your book, you're giving the purpose of life. We all got to find our own blueprints, and we all got to do it, right? We got to find that purpose. And then your A, aspire towards greatness. That's the future. You're giving, like you said, giving that permission for other people to be great.
Yeah.
uh Now I want you to get into it and give me your feed on why you gave me the tea in that direction, because that's how I see your tea. But I
Yeah.
want you to share how you see your tea, Ilonka.
I really thought about, because I have to commend you. I love the way that you bring, because tea is a connector. It's something that connects people globally. I mean, we may have different tastes that we use, and different how do you say that, traditions and the way we do it, but it's something that is globally recognized as a beautiful thing that inspires us to come together, have conversation at a deeper level. So, and the fact that you use that as a way to bring people together is amazing. So I really thought deeply about this. And the way you say it is beautiful, because I find that in the world that we live today, that present moment, we almost we it's like we instantly go from past into future. We are so, it's like, and I was there. That's why the book is very revealing also. I one of my proofreaders, she said to me, Ilonka, I find you so courageous. You shared with such depth and humility about your struggles. And I said to her, well, I mean, I couldn't, how how can I expect anyone else to dare to, to be themselves if I can't role model that? So um that present moment is so important. And because it's in this present moment when we take time to have tea, to breathe, to see, to look each other in the eye, and to feel each other, to feel yourself, that's now that I can reflect about my past. And I call this is one of the shifts, that learn to look with quantum eyes, meaning I call it looking with the eye, like a jaguar who's about to get his prey, so extremely relentless, and at the same time with the eyes of your inner child, who loves you no matter what. Because if we look at our past with any sense of judgment, it doesn't work. There's enough judgment in the world, and so we don't transcend. Then we can't transcend because we're judging ourselves.
Yeah.
So it's in the present moment is the gift. And what I find that we're doing inadvertently as modern humans is that, because we don't take the time to have our tea and connect first with ourselves, because we can't connect at a deeper level. We say we cannot connect at a deeper level with others if we have not done the inner work. We can try, we can write a book, we can advise, we can teach about it, but you cannot live it. And that's why I love in our conversation we had before it. You are truly a beacon of light. What we say. I asked you, how did you get so many people, and how do you book up all your? And you said, really, I don't know. People just kind of are attracted to me, and that's it, because you have come to that level of purity of who you are. And so, what's happening a lot to, and it did to me too in this modern world, is that we tend to create our future from our past, because we kind of skip over the present. And so, sometimes if we really listen to what we're saying, we're constantly saying, it's like, oh no, that happened in the past, so maybe then I can't do that, because then this is going to happen, not realizing how much we are limiting ourselves, because of our past and the collective past as humanity, you know and so that's why the T, transcend limitation, is so important, because it's where it starts, is recognizing, from a very loving perspective, um, who I am. That's the beauty, but also, what are the things that are, um, in the way I'm showing up, that are absolutely not authentic about who I am, but I've been doing it maybe years, and it's been successful on the outside, but on the inside, nobody knows this, but it's eating away at me. A lot of us, and I used to be there, thought, you need to work, no matter stress, don't worry about that, just push through it, sleeping late, oh no, we got to get the job done. And I'm still recovering from those years of stress, trying to, or not trying, but helping the body to come back to that sense of balance and harmony, which is the place where we can bloom and really become, you know, um, become more of who we are, both biology wise and then also in our energy. So that's where the transcend limitation, the T. And then in the present moment, when we find who we are, I talk about this in Quantum Rebel, that there's actually a shift from where pain was our driving force where now actually inspiration becomes our driving force. And of course, and I always say to people, does that mean that it's all, when we're at the when we're all this into the soul, where there's, life is like perfect, nothing is going wrong? No, it's just that we deal with whatever happens in a different way, because we it's both logical that I understand that even when challenging things are happening, if I get frustrated and angry, I'm just really, kicking myself in the foot, because my level of energy, what I called our level of vibration energy, is just sinking. And the lighthouse that I am just dims down all
Was a
my
big storm
power.
on the water, right? The waves are
Exactly.
hitting us, and we don't know how to shine the light because we're being blinded by the water that's coming and hitting us. Because we feel that if we say we can't shine right now, we're tired, we're burnt out, that the world is going to stop and not like us.
Exactly.
And we
Exactly.
all live for
Exactly.
that, right? We all live for
Exactly.
that. I want to see, I want to be seen, I want to be seen. Well, sometimes, you know what, the light needs to dull itself in order to recharge itself so that it can shine brighter. And that's what I really got, with the elevate with purpose, because our
Yeah.
purpose sometimes needs a rest.
And I love what you say that, because I mean, if I look at my own life, my purpose has, because that's why I say elevate, it has changed and shifted as I have changed and shifted. And we oftentimes we hang on to something again unconsciously, not realizing that we're hanging on to something from an expectation that is not our own. Because when we express the best of who we are, it will change with us as we grow and elevate, and that's okay. That's the way
Yeah.
it's supposed to be. But that is often also looked at, it's like, okay, can she make up her mind? It's
We're
like,
women, we don't make up our minds.
but it's through that expressing and then realizing, no, that isn't really it. And and I think the more that we authentically share also that the path is not linear. It's not a linear path. And the more we learn to be in that rhythm, the less, like stat, jumpy, going back and forth, the more smooth it becomes. So there is hope. But it's, I always say, it's also like the stock market. I've learned that life, yes, even in the most challenging times, I know that at the end, when I go through it, I will have come up higher anyway. But then again, that requires us to look at life through a much more expansive way, because sometimes it will happen instantly, and other times it may take years. And it's just, that is the innate nature of our life. And that's where a lot of that is not considered normal yet. And because the moment something takes too long, people say, oh, she's daydreaming, it will never happen. And people
But
give
that's
up
the
on their
outside
dream.
world again, right, Ilonka?
Exactly.
That's telling us,
Yeah.
you're taking too long to get this done. You're not being committed. You're playing small.
Yeah.
You're never going to get ahead if you do it that way. That's the outside world slowly trying to take away our purpose. And everyone's purpose is different. Everyone's journey is different, and everyone has a different speed on their journey. So what works for you won't work for somebody else. It's like I said at the beginning, Ilonka, with your book, right? Somebody might get it right on page 1, but then the next person on page 7. It's a different journey for everyone, and I think that's where different books like your books and that as well, Ilonka, is giving people the purpose to find their journey, right? And leading them by saying, you know what, it's okay to be a rebel. It's okay to say, I don't know what I'm doing today. Today I just don't got it. Let me get back to you in 24 hours. I might have it for you. And like the elevate with purpose, the word elevate, we don't even use that in today's world. It's like we're scared of that word because we're scared of the outside world again, right? The outside voices.
And I think I have to say that we're living in both an extremely, well, no, not extreme, both an exhilarating time as well as a very difficult time, because, and so, and but that makes it even more important. How do you look at the world? And it's way beyond seeing it, the world, the cup half empty or half full. It's really like understanding that sometimes at a larger level, um, sometimes pain is still a driving force in the life in the world that we're living, you know. And so that's why this book is really, it's written for two, because when we started this book, they told me you need to think of one person that you're writing it for. And I finally said to them, I said, no, I am writing for two people, quote unquote. I'm writing for the awakening soul, that person that feels that visionary voice, they hear it and it's blooming, and they just want to live their life and express the greatest version of who they are. That's the awakening soul. And within there, a nuance toward what I call the quantum rebels. Those are the leaders that have what I call like a dual purpose, where they innately feel, have the calling not only to uplift themselves, but the world around them. So and it's not about the size of your purpose, it is about the depth and the profundity of what your calling, of what you came to be. If you look at Miss Liz's Tea Time, there's a deep inner calling to it's not about the tea time, it's about so much more. It's about the impact you make in humanity. Those are the quantum rebels that are actually shifting us and making the new systems and structures of the new world, so that all the awakening souls have a place to go, where they, the young children coming in, and all of us alive, that we can express who we are without having to dim ourselves down and trying to fit in. But that is where we're not there yet. And that is what Quantum Rebel is about empowering and inspiring that generation of leadership to really step out and collectively, because that is also, each one of us is beautiful, unique, powerful, but we can't do it alone. When we connect and we start collaborating, I mean, look at how we found each other.
Yeah.
Right before the final ending of Miss
Right
Liz,
before the end.
right before it's coming into this new version of what Miss Liz is going to elevate into, I got in, so it's so, and that's the big, and that's how, that gives me hope that yes, we are in a path from a larger, expansive look at humanity. It's shifting toward a humanity that is more, that honors who they are, both biology and quantum blueprint, and is uplifting the world around us.
When I hear the word blueprint, I see this dot to dot book, right? And I bought myself a bunch for Christmas, guys. Miss Liz finally found the dot to dot books, and I'd like to go outside of the dots. You know how they have the picture already ready for you, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I
Yeah.
like to go 1, 3, 4, and I end up coming with a different pattern because I don't want to be that person
No.
that follows the
No,
line,
so
right?
that's why I call it the quantum blueprint. And there's a section in the book, I don't know if you've gone that far, where I say, the dots, they move.
Yes.
Sometimes they change. Some dots die out, and then there come new dots. And so that is the invitation to us. Can we be okay with that? Can we learn to be okay that the puzzle of life is moving and it's shifting and it's changing? Or are we going to hang on and get so angry because these dots changed again? How dare they?
Well, that's the thing, right,
I
Ilonka?
have
It's the
that
dots are
plan.
changing, and people are like, "How dare it change on me?" Right? I'm supposed to go to 2. I'm supposed to go to 3. I'm supposed to go to 4. Why is it
I
one,
had it
7,
figured
13?
out.
Like, it's like zig, 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 zig. And this is the reason why I wanted all of my listeners and audience to get a pen and paper, because I wanted you to ask yourself, who am I? And I want you to do dot the dots. I want you to put 5 dots on a piece of paper, and I want you to not follow the lines. I want to see what you create with those 5 dots. And I want to see how you create a blueprint. And with those 5 dots, then I want you to add words. I want you to add the rebel. I want you to add me. I want you to add journey. I want you to add leadership. And I want you to add 2025. And I want to see what you guys are going to come out with those 5 words and where those 5 dots are going to take you. Because I bet you if you go and you grab a copy of Quantum Rebel and you put those 5 dots together, you're going to have some amazing things happen to you in 2025. Miss is not
Oh,
telling you guys how to do it.
I love how
Ilonka,
you brought that, how you put that together. Miss Liz. That's beautiful.
because it takes your book and my dots to
Yeah,
make the change.
yeah.
And it takes the listeners, in order to do the change for themselves, to put those dots on the paper. I'm not handing out papers with 5 dots, guys. You got to do the work.
And
It's not that hard.
I would invite the listeners also, and this is what I also do with my clients, is that so this is your version for today, but give yourself some time. No, even better, and you put it in a room on a flip chart, on a flip thing, and you put and just see what comes up during, because you maybe some new dot may come up in your mind's eye, and add that in, and just you so give yourself the room and space to be expansive and to allow it to shift and shape, and then see and reflect on what that comes, and it's, I always say, be more, let's be more inquisitive. Hmm, I wonder what how does this, is a weird dot, where does this come from? And instead of going throwing it out, just allow it to be there, even if it makes absolutely no sense, but it being there and you looking at it, and maybe sitting underneath the stars, and talking to yourself, the stars, whatever inspires you, the trees, you may get other insights. So it's really connecting at a deeper level with who you are. And I love how you I hope I have permission from you to use the dot
Absolutely.
exercise.
You know what, Ilanka? I love that you added extra dots, because that's what I wanted. I wanted to think outside of the box. If you put 6 dots on your paper, I'm not going to be mad at you guys, because maybe there's something that I'm not seeing, that I don't know, that's supposed
Yeah,
to happen. And Ilanka, you got it. Like right away, you were like, add the extra dots. That's what we need to do in life. We need to add
yeah,
the extra dots.
yeah,
And sometimes the past, the present, and the future gives us those dots.
yeah.
We got to go back a little, come in
Yeah.
the present, and then move to the forward.
And be okay when some of the dots disappear that you thought,
Exactly.
maybe the first thing is, I know it, boom. And then when you sit back and you allow this to be with you, you go like, no, this dot doesn't resonate with me anymore. So, and that's the beauty of allowing yourself to go there.
Absolutely. And that's where the tea goes, right? The tea flows in different directions.
Yeah.
Sometimes, we spill it on the left side, sometimes on the right side, sometimes in the middle. Who's cleaning that mess? Who's cleaning these spills? Ourselves, when we're by ourselves. Now, when we have a community and we have people working with us, then we have community help us. One might get the left side, one might get the right side, one might get the middle. And then what do we have? We have a good conversation, because everyone, well, how long did it take you to clean that side? Well, how long, and then you have that conversation. You get back into communicating. And I think that's where we are stuck. we're not communicating enough. We're short. It's like the elevator pitch, right? You get in the elevator and people want to know you in 90 seconds. I don't even know myself in 90 seconds some days. I'm just like, and when I'm on an elevator, don't be asking me to tell you what my pitch is, because I'm hoping and praying that the elevator doesn't get stuck, because I'm terrified of elevators. I get in there and sometimes I just got to go up one floor and I'm just like, oh, please, Lord, like, let's just get up there. And it takes forever to get up there. And then you get into larger elevators where it's 10 floors, and then you're like, oh, can I really do this? So you're talking to, so it's not a good time to be asking me for my pitch when I'm in an elevator. I'm going to break humor. I'm going to break, help me, save me. Let's sit down and pray together. But these are the journeys that we take, right? Ilonka is, it's not the same for everybody, and
Yeah.
it's always a different journey. And when we start working together, we start putting the dots together and we start removing the dots when
Yeah.
they're no longer serving us purpose. That's when we really make the difference. And
Yeah.
that's what I got from your book. Like I said, the cover, blue,
Yeah.
and the blue was the flow. And when you said paint, that's what I seen was a paintbrush. I seen this flow,
Wow.
this wave, right? And the title rebel, well, as soon as I hear the word rebel, I'm like, I'm hooked. Like, I don't care what the book's about, I'm getting the book. And that's the way it works at Miss Liz. But I want to get into colors with you, because I asked you your favorite color in Lanka and you gave me a Pacific blue.
Yeah.
Tell me why that blue.
Um, I think blue. I like all shades of blue, but this blue is particularly it's expansive. It's radiating. All shades of blue comes from the ocean. I have a very I love the ocean, and uh, I mean, I owe the nature. I love nature, but I have a special connection with the ocean because it was in walking in the rough ocean and feeling the water on my feet and looking at the expansiveness of, it's not really blue, it's all shades of blue, that it just calms my heart. I think blue is a very calming color also. So I find it is both expansive, it reminds you of the universe, and it also reminds me, if it doesn't even remind me, just when I see it, it calms me down. So yeah, I would say that. And it's really funny because this photo that the I didn't intentionally make this photo to use in the cover, but I had seen this beautiful photo thing with the dress. I forget how it's called. And then when I was like, oh, they won't have that in Aruba, because I wrote this book while being in Aruba. And and then I got an email saying, oh, we have, I forget how the dress is called. And I got a blue dress, so it was like, this is my color. And then when I saw the photos, it was like, this is going to be on the cover of the book. So it present, just like the book wrote itself before I even knew I was writing it. The cover presented itself in the colors that it wanted to be. So and I just kind of went with the flow there.
And
So
that's what the cover looks like. It's a flowing cover. Like,
yeah.
it's really a gorgeous color. And Aruba, like, when you sent me where you were from, I was like, I've never even heard of the country. So I had to go and do some research, because that's what Miss Liz does. I'm just a nerd. I go and check things out, right? And I was really amazed on the colors of the different flags. You were also in the Netherlands, I
Yeah.
have here, and surname.
So I was born in Suriname, which is a former Dutch colony. And so that's the connection with Aruba. So, Aruba is still they don't call it a colony anymore. It's kind of like the Commonwealth kind of
Okay,
group.
yeah.
You have the Dutch kingdom, and Aruba still belongs to the Dutch kingdom. So we it's kind of a triangle. We go between the Netherlands, Aruba, and the US. But home has been Aruba for me for the last 5 years. And actually, my husband is now in the Netherlands. And so we'll be going back and forth.
And that's what I love, right? Is I get to travel in my little rocking chair here, and I get to see all these different countries and learn so much about,
Yeah.
because the water and that, and I could just picture the blue, uh, just the calmness. And I never thought of the universe, but the universe too. It's got the blue energies
Yeah.
and and
And I would just connecting back to the dot exercise, which I absolutely love, is I would invite all the listeners, and I've did this. I do this more often now. Is to one night sleep underneath the sky. If you can't do it the whole night, then at least take time, get out of your the house, and if you can lay underneath the sky. And I remember when I did it the first time, I couldn't fall asleep for 2 hours because it was so expansive. When we do it so, we don't pay attention to it. But when I laid there at night when everybody's sleeping, so the calmness and nervous energy of the world has really settled down, it is so expansive, so beautiful. And it's something definitely I would advise everyone, if they can do it at least once. And that's where also the connection of the color come in. And it's I look up a lot even during the day. I look up because there's also a lot of shades of blue.
yeah.
So especially when we're in our busyness of the world, it's fine. That's why I love nature. If we're intentional about it, it can always calm us, bring us back to our calm of balance and harmony. And sometimes we just have to look up and get that injection of nature helping us to come back to our that innate balance that we are.
Well, I think, being connected with ourselves. And like you said earlier in the show, the tea, right? The tea connects. Miss
Yep.
Liz knew that right from the start, because as soon as I said tea, everybody's like, well, I don't drink tea. I don't like. Right away, there was the niggy naggies that, oh, I'm a coffee drinker. I'm a wine drinker. That's fine. You can be who you want to be, because it
Yep.
ain't about the beverage. If I'm drinking tea, that's fine. If you're drinking coffee, that's fine. But we're still human beings, and we're still connecting.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
it's taking that pause, and that's what you're doing with the stars and sleeping under the sky, is taking the pause.
Yeah.
Life gets so busy sometimes that
Yeah.
we don't pause, right? And that's what I want everyone who listens to Tea Time, take that time to pause. You can listen to Miss Liz when you're at a picnic. You put me in your ears. Dance at the beach. Put your feet in the water and say, "What is
Yeah.
Miss Liz talking about today?" Right? Just take that time to serve your tea, and award your teas. Celebrate your teas and your wins, because we're not doing that enough. Is celebrating, and be a little rebel. You know, uh, so, Ilonka, if anybody would like to get your books, where can they get your books? And if anybody would like to have you on their podcast or their shows or magazine covers or anything like that, where can they find you?
So the book is on Amazon. The publisher is now working on an expanded distribution, so that it if you that it even bookstores to the insta. I think it's called in. I forgot the name, but Ingram or something like that. That it can be ordered via the bookstore. That is that why the distribution is happening currently. But it's on Amazon everywhere. And my website is www.thequantumrebel.com. That's the easiest way of connecting with me, or through social media. I'm usually on LinkedIn, um, Instagram, and Facebook. Those in that order. I'm like you. I love connecting with my audience. It's I believe that it's through connection that we open the door to expansion and beautiful gifts, that come through, that we couldn't have never thought of before. So I look at my, sometimes I won't be immediate because, but I always look at my social media also. So those are good ways to connect with me.
Well, that's awesome. And I really want to thank you, Ilonka, for sitting and sharing tea with me, and taking me on a journey, because that's what it is. It's a journey through the conversations and getting each other. Like,
Yeah.
she got me when I put the dots. She added the extra dots and she said, remove the dots. That's it. It's the connection and understanding and not being offended when somebody does something that's not aligned. If it doesn't work for you, it's better to find what does work for you.
Yeah, be
You
more
know,
inquisitive, be more curious to find out more, because sometimes when we dig a little bit deeper, that's where we find, we may not agree on certain things, but we will find that is that the part of the oneness, where from transformation into inspiration into embodying, becoming one, and realizing that at our core we are connected and we are one. So
absolutely. Everybody's just got to put a hook out there and let's see what we catch, right? Let's go fishing.
exactly, have some more tea time, the real tea time.
The real tea. Well, I really, really want to thank all my listeners and audience out there. And if you'd like to share your work with Miss Liz, send it to my email at bookingmissliz.com or a private message on my Facebook page, and I'll get that out there for everybody. If you'd like to reach out to Ilonka and you'd like to share the dots and your journey of tonight's conversation, be sure to do that as well. Check
Yes,
out her
I'll be
website, check out
looking.
her book. And I really want to give a big special shout out to Mickey Mickelson for making these tea times an amazing 5 years as well. I've worked with Mickey for 3 years, so thanks to Mickey for that. And bringing Ilonka to the table. We have one more guest from Mickey coming on Thursday. Michael Hinson will be here. He'll be speaking about guided dogs and blindness, being blind. And then we also have Frederick Scholarfield coming in the afternoon, and he'll be talking about his Cary Grant and books and all of that good stuff. So we'll be talking about some old love romance and all that good stuff.
Amazing.
And then we're going to wrap it up. As Miss Liz said, the last tea time is done on December 13th. And if anybody knows, that is my daughter, Ashley, who passed in memory of Ashley. And we're having the canvas of life coming to the table. So we have two amazing authors from Canada, authors, poets, and illustrators coming in and sharing their amazing book called The Canvas of Life. I thought that was a good way of wrapping up tea time after 5 years and bringing everybody together. And again, we will see a lot of the guests from season 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Yes, I have some from a little bit of every year coming, and we're gonna just have some fun. And if you'd like to join us, you can join Miss Liz. That is a free event. There is no charge for it, but donations always to help Miss Liz in the future with the mission of Miss Liz's Tea Time. So you can make those donations on Miss Liz's website at www.misslizsteatime.com. It is not expected, but every little bit helps, right?
Yeah.
And I want to thank everybody for 5 amazing years. Ilonka, thank you for being number 4
Thank
on my
you.
countdown. It is an honor to have you here. And let's stay connected and let's see where we can go in the future. Miss Liz is getting choked
Definitely.
up because the countdown is coming, and this is a big uh, transformation for Miss Liz. So thank you guys all. Thank you to the listeners and viewers out there. I could not do this without you. It is teamwork. So thank you again for taking the time to listen to Miss Liz and my guest.
And it was
And
an
I was
honor being here with you. Thank you for that.
You're very welcome, Ilonka. And I want to thank everybody. And I will see everybody on Thursday, 3 p.m., 7 p.m. And then I'll see you on Friday at 3 p.m. for the last tea time of Miss Liz's Tea Times podcast. So until then, stay safe and keep serving your teas. Keep being true to yourselves, and we will make a difference with tea.